today's session, we will discuss about the different branches of anthropology. Anthropologists study man as a member of animal kingdom and his behavior as a member of society. Different branches of anthropology focus on different aspects of human experience. While one branch focuses on how our species evolved from earlier species, other branches concentrates on learned tradition of human thought and behavior. Yet, some more branches concentrates on how ancient cultures evolved and how it came to be diversified, and how and why modern culture changes or remain the same. In its attempt to study various dimensions of man's existence and behavior, anthropology tends to generate many specialized branches. There are 5 major elementary branches of anthropology. They are socio-cultural anthropology, physical anthropology, archaeological anthropology, linguistic anthropology, and applied anthropology. First, let's talk about socio-cultural anthropology. Inspired by the idea of evolution after the Darwin's publication of The Origin of Species, second half of the 19th century marked the beginning of socio-cultural anthropology. Many socio-cultural anthropologists became interested in exploring the possibility of a similar process of evolution in the field of society and culture. They focused in the study of pre-literate societies in the belief that they represented the earliest condition of human society and culture. They preferred themselves to be called as ethnologists. By the beginning of the 20th century, the term ethnology came to be replaced by the terms cultural anthropology in America and social anthropology in Britain. American anthropologists focus on studying cultures as a whole, which itself include the social structures, while British anthropologists focus on the comparative study of social structures. From non-literate societies, the domain of study has expanded to cover complex societies as well. People's lives have several dimensions, and the attempt to study each one in detail has resulted in the origin and growth of several sub-branches from the elementary branch of socio-cultural anthropology, such as economic anthropology, political anthropology, psychological anthropology, anthropology of religion, and so on. However, only few sub-branches which are of major interest will be discussed here. Let's first talk about economic anthropology. Production, consumption, distribution, and exchange are the basic structures of economic transactions and its processes. Economic anthropologists concentrate on these activities mainly in non-literate and peasant society. Some scholars argue that the economic activities of man are not studied in isolation, but in their socio-cultural setting, with the emphasis on those socio-cultural factors that influence and determine economic activity in each society. This has resulted in a hot debate between the formalists and substantivists, or those who feel that the theories formulated in the discipline of economics are equally sufficient in explaining economic processes in simple societies and those who counter by arguing that the economy of its society is embedded in the bed of culture, and so the theories that have been constructed with the modern monetized systems in mind do not find a credible place in the anthropology of simple societies. Political anthropology. It concentrates on the ubiquity of political process and the functions of legitimate authority, law, justice, and sanction in simple societies. It focuses on the anthropological point of view in the formulation of the typology of political structures based on differences and similarities observed among the societies of the world and its political processes, and ultimately the nation-building processes. Psychological anthropology. It is a study of psychological, behavioral, and personal approaches of man. It was realized that no single discipline alone could satisfactorily handle all the dimensions of the problem of studying the basic conflict between human and personal needs at both individual as well as social levels simultaneously. These gave rise to the need for a cooperative endeavor between them and thus develop an interdisciplinary approach within the folds of American cultural anthropology. Ethnoarchaeology. The term ethnic refers to a group distinguished by common cultural characteristics. The comparative study of cultures in historical perspective is the subject matter of ethnology, whereas the descriptive account of the total way of life of the people at a given time is termed as ethnography. Archaeology is that branch of anthropology which is concerned with the historical reconstruction of cultures that no longer exist. The use of archaeology to study ethnography becomes imperative, and this is referred to as ethnoarchaeology. Ecological anthropology. It deals with the relationship between human beings and their environments. It is the use of the concept of environment in the explanation of both the origin of different cultural elements and also the diversity of cultural groups. It also attempts to understand the relative influence of environment on human society. Anthropology of religion. There are many theories regarding the origin of religion among people. Important amongst them are animism, enigmatism, monism, and primitive monotheism. The perceptions of people regarding the differences between man and nature are studied first of all. The beliefs in natural and supernatural forces, the rituals and ceremonies among non-literate and peasant societies, and other religious practices such as taboo and totemism are also examined. The differences between magic, which includes witchcraft and sorcery, religion and science, are discussed and debated. Above all this, the social and biological functions of magic and religion are emphasized. Physical anthropology. It is a branch of anthropology which attempts to explore human mystery related to their origin, differentiation, diversities, and distributions. Physical anthropology can be divided into the following sub-branches. First, primatology. It is a scientific study of primate group of mammal. Man, the central figure of anthropological study, belongs to the order primate of animal kingdom. The integrated study of the primates in the background of physical anthropology gives an intrinsic value to understand the position of man. Secondly, ethnology. It is a study of human diversities. All the living men in the world are categorized into different groups, broadly known as races. These are now understood as the Mendelian populations, an inbreeding group of humanity sharing a common gene pool. It also attempts to explain the nature, formation, and differentiation of the racial groups. Third is human biology. It deals with the concrete biological principles and concepts of man. Because of the impact of cultural achievement, it is different from the biology of other animals. Physical anthropologists attempts to understand this biological feature of man and their successive development, changes in structure and functions through time. Fourth is paleoanthropology. It is a branch of physical anthropology which deals with the documentation of biological history of mankind. They work on fossil evidences collected from the different layers of the earth. It also attempts to reconstruct the link between the human and non-human traits that had so long been lost. They evaluate the fossil remains found from different sites and establish their status and evolutionary significance. Fifth is human genetics. Genetics deals with the inherited characters. There is a genetic relation between parents and their offspring. The tendency of inheritance of parental characters is known as heredity. Human genetics is a specialized branch of physical anthropology which reveals in mechanism of heredity of various traits in men. Sixth is nutritional anthropology. It deals with the matter related with the nutritional perspectives of human beings and their subsequent growth and development. Growth, however, is dependent on two factors. First is heredity and second is environment. This branch of knowledge is concerned with the impact of these two factors on human beings as well. Seventh is medical anthropology. It studies disease patterns and their impact on human societies. Medical anthropologists attempts to bring into light the socio-cultural as well as genetical or environmental determinants of disease within a population through the close study of the people and their way of life. These proves very effective in combating different diseases in human societies. Eighth is physiological anthropology. This branch deals with the internal organs of human body in order to understand their biochemical constitutions. It is also concerned with how the physiology of man interacts with the external factors like climate, food habit, etc., and also studies biochemical variations in man and other primates. Ninth is forensic anthropology. It deals with the skeletal structure of hominids and non-hominids to understand the similarities and differences of the body parts. This branch of knowledge is very helpful in detecting criminals and also in identifying the nature and status of individuals through their biological remains. Next is dental anthropology. This branch of knowledge deals with teeth and its pattern. The dental morphology helps us to understand human evolution, growth, body morphology, genetical features, etc. It is therefore a specialized knowledge which attempts to study the distribution of different dental traits among different populations. Next is anthropometry. It is the anthropological science of measurement. This study is not only useful in the study of gradual human development through evolution and in understanding the racial discrimination patterns, but also helps in the day-to-day way of life, which is exclusively related to human bodily forms. Next is ergonomy. This branch of physical anthropology is concerned with the correlation between the static body dimension and the designing of machine to be driven by man. The very fact that people differ in body size as a result of varied biological and environmental factors makes this branch very important. Next is demography. It is a science of population. It deals with fertility and mortality. These two factors are again influenced by heredity and environment. It naturally becomes a specialized branch of physical anthropology. Next is ethology. It is a science of animal behavior. The data obtained from the study of other primate behaviors are being used to help explain the basic background of human behaviors and to suggest how human ancestors may have acted on the different issues. Archaeological anthropology. This branch of knowledge attempts to trace the origin, growth, and development of culture in the past or the period before history when men had not acquired the capabilities of language, either in speech or writing, to record the story of his life. Two important aspects make archaeological anthropologists different from socio-cultural anthropologists. Firstly, the former studies past cultures, while the latter studies present. Secondly, the former lacks the advantage of personal contact and interaction with the people he is studying, which the former enjoys. Archaeology can tell us about the technology of people by analyzing the tools that they have left behind, thereby shedding light on the economic activities of the people using them. Based on the types of stone tools, the archaeological anthropologists divided the cultural development of man into three stone ages: Paleolithic or Old Stone Age, Mesolithic or Middle Stone Age, and Neolithic or New Stone Age. Linguistic anthropology. Linguistic anthropology is that branch of anthropology which deals with language. It is concerned with the languages of all the people, past and present, as it is a chief vehicle through which man preserves and transmits his culture from generation to generation. It is also interested in the relationship between language and cultural cognition as well as cultural behavior. The major differences between linguists and linguistic anthropologists is that the former are mainly concerned with the study of how languages are constructed and structured, but the linguistic anthropologists study both written and unwritten languages. Linguistic anthropology has the following branches. Firstly, descriptive or structural linguistics. Second is historical linguistics. Third is the socio-cultural linguistics or ethno-linguistics. Applied anthropology. The ultimate aim of the study of man is not only merely acquiring knowledge regarding man, society and culture, but in applying the knowledge so gained in solving the practical problems faced by mankind all over the world. In this effort, anthropologists often work closely with the administrators of the government. The applied anthropologist's role may be seen as that of a consultant to the government. The applied anthropologist has a role in all the three events: before, during, and after of a welfare program. His initial work comprises a pre-study of the people and their culture. Next is a diagnosis of the problems affecting their society. Suggesting specific solutions to those problems involve the careful consideration of the pros and cons of the developmental project. The efficiency of applied anthropology lies in overcoming the barriers of change and in igniting the stimulants of change. The cultural barriers to change arise from factors relating to values and attitudes, including tradition, fatalism, ethnocentrism, pride and dignity, norms of modesty, the logical incompatibility of cultural traits, superstitions, etc. Social barriers to change arise from group solidarity, public opinion, conflict factionalism, lack of authority within family, as well as political structure, social stratification, class, caste, etc. In brief, applied anthropology has mostly dealt with planned change and development in third world countries. The two major areas in which applied anthropologists have contributed substantially are improvements in technology and health. Some of the core areas dealt by applied anthropologists are birth control, malnutrition, growth, medicine, juvenile delinquency, tribal rehabilitation, solving industrial problems such as labor unrest, adult education, etc. Anthropologists have been given the status of social engineer by some scholars and social doctors by others, which is in fact not an exaggeration. So today, we have so far discussed the different branches of anthropology. We'll be coming up with more topics on anthropology.